We're embarking on a journey through time, tracing the path of the legendary Pony Express across the rugged beauty of Utah's West Desert. This trail wasn't just a route for mail delivery, it was a lifeline connecting east and west. Before the Pony Express, pioneers forged their way west on the Oregon and California trails, enduring months of hardship to reach their destinations. But as settlements grew, the need for faster communication became critical. Enter Howard Egan, a Mormon rancher of the original 1847 Mormon Pioneer Company. He ran cattle from Salt Lake City to Sacramento, and to improve the journey, he blazed a new path that went straight across Utah and Nevada. Instead of following the winding Humboldt River, Egan's route cut straight through the mountains, shaving 280 miles off the Humboldt route. This bold shortcut became the foundation for the Pony Express Trail. Recognizing its strategic importance, the U.S. Army dispatched Captain James Simpson to survey Egan's route. This improved trail became known as the Central Overland Route, a vital link in the nation's growing transportation network. The Pony Express, though short-lived, cemented this role's place in history, and even after the telegraph and railroads arrived, the trail continued to evolve, eventually becoming part of the iconic Lincoln Highway, America's first transcontinental road. Traveling with my best travel buddy. Our journey begins at Camp Floyd, a once bustling military outpost that played a key role in the trail's history. Let's step back in time and explore this fascinating chapter of the American West. This is what remains of Camp Floyd, a relic of a bygone era and a key player in the story of the Pony Express. This unassuming museum holds the secrets of a once mighty military encampment, a place that buzzed with activity during a turbulent time in America's history. Established in 1858, Camp Floyd was the largest concentration of U.S. troops in the nation at the time. They were sent to quell a perceived Mormon rebellion brewing in Salt Lake City, an event that would be known as the Utah War. Tensions were high, and the threat of conflict loomed over the West. But the rebellion never happened, and the Civil War in the South overshadowed it, and all troops were quickly moved back east. The camp was initially named after John Buchanan Floyd, the Secretary of War, but when the Civil War erupted, Floyd's allegiance shifted. He resigned his post and joined the Confederacy, casting a shadow over the camp that bore his name. To distance the camp from its Confederate ties, it was renamed Fort Crittenden, honoring a Union loyalist from Kentucky. It's a fascinating example of how national events rippled across the West even in this remote outpost. And very interesting that even to this day we have old military forts named after Confederates that are being renamed. Today, little remains of the sprawling encampment that once housed thousands of soldiers. Only the commissary building survives, now transformed into this museum. But within these walls, the stories of Camp Floyd come alive, offering a glimpse into a pivotal moment in the history of the American West. But Camp Floyd wasn't all about military might. It was also a vital stop in the Pony Express Trail, a place where riders could rest and resupply. Just steps away from the museum stands another relic of the area, the Stagecoach Inn. Let's step into this oasis in the wilderness. This beautifully preserved building offers a glimpse into the comforts and challenges of travel in the 19th century. Imagine arriving here after days or even weeks on a dusty trail. Your first stop? A steaming hot bath to wash away the grime and fatigue of the journey. Can you imagine the luxury of soaking in this tub after weeks of bathing in rivers and streams? Next, a hearty meal served on real china. No more campfire stew or hardtack. Travelers could savor a home-cooked dinner by a warm fire. And finally, the ultimate luxury, a real bed. Soft mattresses and cozy quilts offered a haven of rest to weary travelers. This room, set up as if it was a visiting photographer, reminds us of the diverse characters who pass through these doors, and it speaks to me, being a photographer myself. Perhaps this is the life I would have led had I been born in that era. The excitement of traveling on the trail, seeing things I'd never imagined before, and hopefully capturing a photo of it that may inspire somebody else to seek the same. In the evenings, guests could gather in the parlor for conversation and entertainment, perhaps a lively game of cards or a sing-along around a piano. It was a chance to connect with fellow travelers and share stories of their adventures. Or maybe you'd prefer a quiet moment on the balcony, watching the sunset over the vast western landscape, a chance to reflect on the journey and the challenges that lie ahead. Of course, not all was peaceful at the Stagecoach Inn. This ragged hole in the wall tells a tale of the ever-present dangers of frontier life. The story goes that one lodger was cleaning his shotgun and it went off. Even famous figures like Horace Greeley and Mark Twain both stayed here. The Stagecoach Inn was more than just a place to rest. It was a hub of communication. After being a vital stop on the Pony Express, a telegraph station was installed here, the very thing that brought the express to an end. Now let's follow in the footsteps of those legendary riders and continue our journey westward. On our way out, we won't forget to stop for a quick picture of the historic schoolhouse one block over. It came well after the Pony Express, but it's always cool to get a picture of these few remaining historic buildings. As we leave Camp Floyd behind, we venture deeper into the vast expanse of the Utah desert. Our next stop is Rush Valley Station, a reminder of the Pony Express's relentless push westward. This lonely monument marks the spot where riders once paused to swap horses and continue their race against time. Though little remains of the original station, its presence here speaks volumes about the determination of those early mail carriers. Today, the only station masters to greet us are these pronghorns, and they aren't interested in staying for a chat. The Pony Express stations were typically spaced about 10 miles apart, allowing for frequent horse changes to maintain top speed. But some stops, like Faust Station just down the road, offered only the bare essentials and a bed to rest. Faust Station was named after its operator, a colorful character, Henry Jacob Faust, more commonly known as Doc Faust. He once played a prank on the infamous journalist Horace Greeley, who was known for his love of reading. Greeley, preferring his books to conversation, was dismayed to find the station plunged into darkness. Doc Faust, eager for a chat, had hidden all the candles, forcing Greeley to engage with him and tell him tales of his adventures. It's a lighthearted reminder of the human interactions that punctuated life out in the wilderness. From Faust Station, the trail climbs towards Lookout Pass, our gateway to the rugged heart of the Pony Express route. On our way up, we see a relic of the more recent past, an old Pony Express information board from about the 1990s. It's a reminder that even historical markers can fade with time. The Bureau of Land Management, or BLM, faces a constant battle against vandalism and neglect as they try to preserve these sites. Sometimes it's hit or miss depending on the resources available. While this particular sign might not be worth a stop right now, it highlights the challenges of preserving history in these remote locations. Much of the information provided is now given at markers along the way, offering a valuable resource for future travelers. And we hope that these informative sites are treated a bit better than this once was. While our journey focuses on the western desert, the real start of this leg of the Pony Express Trail truly began in the bustling city of Salt Lake City. Though now a modern metropolis, remnants of those early days can still be found if you know where to look. The original Salt Lake Station, once a hub of activity, now stands in the shadow of the new Eccles Theater, a stark contrast between past and present. It's a reminder that history is all around us, even in the most unexpected places. Further down the valley, the site of Traveler's Rest Station sits next to a jewelry store and is across the street from a Korean barbecue restaurant. It's amazing how time can transform a place, leaving only small clues to its past. But perhaps the most intriguing station was Rockwell's Hot Springs Hotel and Brewery, run by none other than Orrin Porter Rockwell, a legendary figure in the Wild West. A Mormon enforcer and gunfighter, Rockwell's reputation preceded him. He was a man of contradictions, a devout believer with a penchant for violence. He said, "I never killed anyone who didn't need killing." Actor John Wayne would later use that quote in a movie. Rockwell Station served as a haven for travelers, offering food, drink, and lodging. It's a reminder that the Pony Express Trail attracted a diverse cast of characters, each with their own stories to tell. Finally, we come to Joe's Dugout, the last stop before Camp Floyd. Once a remote outpost, it's now surrounded by suburban sprawl. It's a testament to the ever-changing landscape of the West. These forgotten stations offer a glimpse into the Pony Express's urban origins. A reminder that the trail connected not just remote outposts, but also the growing communities of the West. But now we leave the city behind and venture into the truly wild stretches of the trail. Just ahead lies Lookout Pass, where we'll encounter another fascinating character and testament to the enduring bond between humans and their animal companions. Libby Rockwell, who along with her husband Horace, Porter Rockwell's brother, made this remote station their home. Libby had a deep love for her dogs, a passion that resonates with many of us today. She was known to care for them as if they were her own children, as she didn't have any children, even resorting to a bit of trickery to ensure their well-being. One story tells of a time when one of Libby's dogs fell ill. When the local doctor refused to make a long trip from Tooele to treat the mere animal, Libby convinced one of her hired hands to feign sickness. Once the doctor arrived, she revealed the ruse and insisted that he examine her beloved dog instead. She then paid him a hefty sum for his trouble, proving her dedication to her canine companions. When her dogs eventually passed away, Libby buried them with care, creating a special pet cemetery near the graves of other immigrants who had passed through here. She even had a stone enclosure built around her dogs' graves, a lasting monument to her affection. It's a touching reminder that the bonds of companionship can transcend even the harshest environments. Nearby we find the spring that sustained life at this station. Though it may not be flowing today, the lush vegetation reveals the presence of water just beneath the surface.
What are you doing? Trying to get whoever's in there? Come on, bud. Come on. This isn't all conclusive or anything, but right behind the Pony Express monument, if you look on the ground here, these rocks are not natural. They're kind of lined up in a row like this. Maybe a square foundation to a building, or it could have just been to mark the place where something used to be.
From Lookout Pass, civilization fades into the distance, and the trail plunges deeper into the wild heart of the desert. Let's see what secrets and challenges await us as we venture further into this untamed land. Our journey takes us to Simpson Springs, a true oasis in this arid land. This was a vital stop for the Pony Express, offering fresh water and a brief respite from the harsh conditions. Simpson Springs boasts the best preserved and rebuilt Pony Express station ruins in Utah.
Not very large, is it? Cool in here, though, huh? Oh no. What you got? Going out? I like the gravelly roof. If any other Pony Express riders came out and stood on this rock and observed the west. I think that's a spring right over here. I know that there's also water coming out up there.
Simpson Springs also holds a more personal story, that of Dewey Anderson. He used stones from the old station to build a home for his wife Clara. Sadly, she passed away during childbirth before the house was even finished. A poignant reminder of the hardships faced by those who settled in this unforgiving land. But Simpson Springs has a history that extends beyond the Pony Express era. In the 1930s, the Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, established a camp here. These young men working to rebuild the nation during the Great Depression left their own mark on the landscape.
This little wall here isn't recent. This is part of the old Civilian Conservation Corps work back when they had a camp here. Let's see if we can see some more. Makes me incredibly curious on what all the buildings were. I'd like to find a map or something that shows what everything was. Maybe back up vehicles and unload into whatever this was. That looks like it was maybe something for a tank to set on for holding gasoline or diesel. Maybe this was the little motor pool point. Underground cellar or something. Maybe this is where they stored food, cooked food. Near where they had the commissary. Maybe there was a big wooden structure here. Behind all of this, in this nice tree area over here, is the campground. Very nice campground. You have to pay for that, but they've got water, which is a nice thing out here in the desert. Because it's up on a hill, you get a gorgeous view. But sunsets are amazing here. Saw these weird structures in the satellite map, so I was just kind of curious what they were. Right below Simpson Springs. Look a little bit more recent. Again, maybe Conservation Corps era buildings. That's what I'm guessing. This area is just covered in cheat grass. I hate that stuff. But it hasn't ripened yet, so it's not sticking in my shoes and socks. Not getting out that way. Spoke too soon. These weeds are getting in my socks. Damn it. Oh, Jesus, I hate that. Oh my gosh. I've got so many weeds in my socks.
Simpson Springs is kind of a crossroads of history, where stories of the Pony Express, the CCC, and pioneers intertwine. However, we need to leave this oasis behind and venture further into the wild unknown of the West Desert.
This is the old riverbed portion of the Pony Express Trail. This valley here was carved by an old river. It truly is an old riverbed. The thing is, if you look around, it's a very dry area. Even on the wettest years and the most snowpack, this area never drains enough water to run a river anymore. The reason being is that this old riverbed, which as you can see, those valleys quite massive, is a remnant of Lake Bonneville shrinking. So here's what happened. If we look over here at this mountain, up at the top there, the very cone shape, that was an island in ancient Lake Bonneville. If you look, there's a very flat area right below it. That was the shoreline of old Lake Bonneville. That was the old Bonneville shoreline. That was its peak. That's where the water was at. We would have been underwater here, obviously, by quite a ways. Then up in Idaho, the land broke free. There was kind of a natural dam that broke away, and all the water flushed into the Snake River drainage and onto the Columbia River, out north between Oregon and Washington into the Pacific Ocean. That happened so fast that the water quickly drained from the Bonneville shoreline down to the Provo shoreline, which you can kind of see is another very solid line down here. The Provo shoreline held for a little while, but after the Ice Age, things were warming up. Mostly just evaporation was happening more, and the lake started draining again from the Provo drainage all the way down. And it hit a point where down here towards the south is where Sevier Lake is. That Sevier Lake Basin and the Great Salt Lake Basin that we're standing at the south end of right now, the water started to drain from Sevier Lake into the Great Salt Lake Basin. That created a big giant river washing through here
continuing around the corner there and into the Great Salt Lake salt flats. But eventually, it just got so low that the saddle over here eventually just dammed up the water, and now all the drainage that goes into Severe Lake stays over on the other side of that saddle, draining into Severe Lake itself and drying up. On this side, all the water drains into the Great Salt Lake. But at one point, this was all the water draining from the south end of Lake Bonneville into the north end. And it etched out this giant river valley. And I don't think we'll ever see water like that again. So this is literally an old riverbed that no matter how wet it gets, we will never see the likes of ever again. From here on the horizon, you can see the shoulder of the old riverbed where it washed down, cut into the layers of sediment here. This is Riverbed Station, the remains of it. Also the Overland stage route. It's almost dinner time. Get some food. I think we go head to see what the next station is. Maybe you go up in the mountains where it's a little more comfortable. While seemingly barren, the desert is full of wildlife when you stop to look. A speedy jackrabbit startled me by jumping out of the bushes. We met a fearless lizard and saw plenty of graceful pronghorn. But the real treat is catching a glimpse of the Anaqui wild horse herd. These descendants of Spanish colonial horses have roamed these lands for centuries. While technically an invasive species, they're a symbol of freedom and resilience. Leaving Riverbed Station behind, we journey deeper into the wilderness towards Dugway Station. Reaching Dugway Station requires venturing off the beaten path, a testament to the lengths that Pony Express went to establish a reliable mail route. Even today, it takes a bit of determination and four-wheel drive to get to this isolated spot. Horace Greeley described it as about the forlornest spot I ever saw. This is the Dugway Station marker. It's really far off the path. Oh, hey, look, this has got the rock around it again. Just like at that other side. I don't think it was natural or original. I'm glad it's still got its marker. A lot of these bronze markers have gotten stolen and they've replaced them with steel ones. Life at Dugway Station was harsh. Water was scarce, forcing the station keepers to haul it from Simpson Springs, miles away. They tried to get water out here, digging 3 wells by hand, going as far as 120 feet down, and still got nothing. The station itself was a simple dugout, offering minimal protection from the elements. It's a stark reminder of the challenges faced by those who brave this landscape. Fortunately, all of these places don't have much left in the way of any ruins or anything to identify them. They can't all be Simpson Springs, I guess. We're going to head up over here to the mountain and cross over. In fact, I can see the road. A little bit of the road crossing right up over the saddle there. But the Pony Express riders didn't just face hardship, they also experienced the beauty of the desert. As we climbed Dugway Pass, we're treated to gorgeous vistas and unique geological formations. Apparently, Dugway Pass is also a haven for those with a different kind of curiosity, butterfly and moth enthusiasts. While researching the area, I found it's known for its diverse Lepidoptera population, including many checker spot butterflies. So if you see some butterflies around the sparse plants here, you may be seeing a rare specimen. Cool rock formations. Way up at the top here, it's like a weird spire thing sticking off to the side. It's about 6 o'clock now, so the Light's getting a little softer. These trees look better. Everything looks less stark and harsh out here. It's actually gotten to be kind of beautiful. Temperatures are really nice too. After leaving Dugway Station, we take a short detour off the Pony Express Trail to explore some literal gems, the Dugway geode beds. These natural wonders offer a fascinating glimpse into the geological forces that shape this region. Geodes are like nature's treasure chests, filled with sparkling crystals, and here at Dugway, they're scattered across the landscape, just waiting to be picked up. It's a treasure trove for rockhounds and curious adventurers alike. The best part is you can keep what you find. There's no special permits needed or expensive equipment as long as you're not reselling them or hauling out absurd quantities. You're free to take a few for your own personal collection. Only hand tools are allowed, but I didn't bring any and I was still able to find tons of geodes on the surface that previous collectors had discarded or not noticed. All you need here is a hammer to crack open the geodes and reveal their hidden treasures. Luckily, somebody had left a hammer behind and I was able to get a couple geodes of my own. It's a fun and rewarding experience, like a treasure hunt in the desert, so grab a shovel and a hammer and make sure you stop by so you can take home a souvenir of your own. I don't know what these mountains are south of the geode beds, but they are gorgeous. I wonder if there's any roads that kind of go back in there, because that's a really cool area. As we continue, we pass Black Rock Station, a picturesque stop along the trail. Although its role in the Pony Express era is uncertain, its scenic beauty is undeniable. And we make a brief stop at Fish Springs, a vital oasis in this arid landscape. We'll explore its lush wetlands and abundant bird life in the morning. But for now, I really want to venture off the beaten path for another hidden gem, a lesser-known hot springs known for swallowing anybody that ventures too close. Nestled at the north end of the Fish Springs Range, this geothermal wonderland is sometimes called Little Yellowstone or Wilson's Health Resort. It's a place where Earth's raw energy bubbles to the surface, creating a unique and captivating landscape. In the past, it was a popular spot for those seeking the therapeutic benefits of the mineral-rich waters. Years ago, a public-spirited citizen placed a sign on an old frame shack at the site reading, "Welcome to all visitors. Come in and make yourself at home," and installed an old bathtub nestled among the steaming pools. But time and the elements have taken their toll, leaving behind a scene that's both beautiful and eerie. Today, the hot springs are a bit rough around the edges, with a wrecked bus and makeshift walkways. Be warned, this is an untamed place with hidden dangers lurking beneath the surface.
There's a rise over there, which I believe is one of the bigger springs. So it's kind of just building up sinter or minerals. But this is all pretty legit. This is definitely hot springs. I might have to run back to the car and get some mosquito spray because they seem to be nightmarish out here. I'm sure the nice warm water helps that.
The thin crust surrounding the springs can give way underfoot, leading to scalding burns, and the mosquitoes here are insane.
I'm dressed up pretty well because the mosquitoes out here are relentless. So I don't know how hot the springs are. Definitely warm, and I think that draws a lot of, cultivates a lot of mosquitoes. Is that the right word? So I had to go back and put all this stuff on just to cover up my arms and legs. I guess it's just right out here. That seems to be the actual place where it's coming up. That would make sense because there's all this wood planking somebody put to go out and maybe sit in. Oh yeah, and there's like a channel of warm water. I actually want to head out to this bus out there, take some pictures. Unfortunately, I don't trust the dog in all this water and mosquitoes and mess, so he is sitting in the car with the windows down a little bit. Hopefully the mosquitoes don't find him. There's only the closest hot spring that you can actually go out to before you start to go past a bunch of signs that say don't go any further, which is fine. I don't want to crack through the crust anyway. The ground is also kind of spongy. I can see that if the water table gets too high, maybe this might turn muddy and people might get stuck. So we'll recommend driving out here either. There's a nice parking spot there. Judging by the ruts, people have gotten stuck out here before. Even when they tried to chew through the vegetated areas for a little bit more traction, it looks like they still bogged down because of these little surprise mud holes. This is not a place I would like to get stuck. Yeah, I think this is probably as far as you'd want to go. Anyway, I mean, the signs are saying don't go any further, so we'll get our picture of this old bus and we'll be on our way. All these salt flats have, even if it's not like a water hole underneath, they can be very muddy underneath. Another runoff channel coming from over there. Off in the distance you can see the steam. I really would like to test the temperature, but I'm not willing to go out there or risk anything. It's not that big a deal. Look at all the salt buildup in this puddle. Definitely in the salt flats here, there's very little stuff that can grow out here except for high salt tolerant plants, but then you get these salt crystals growing. Anywhere that the water leaches out and has a place to evaporate, you end up with a lot of salt crystal formation. The north end of the Great Salt Lake is a lot like this. Basically the whole north end is very salty. Here you just see it in a few places. Let's see how this tastes. Whoa, salty. Ugh. After sticking my hand in that water and just letting it dry naturally, this is how salty my hand is. It was a lot worse when on the north end of the lake, when the spiral jetty first re-emerged from the lake. Sticking my hand in there was a lot more crystally. That's pretty good. Kind of stings where got little nicks and cuts.
As the sun begins its descent, we leave the main Pony Express route and seek out a secluded campsite for the night. It's the time to unwind and reflect. This hidden site, tucked away from the Pony Express Trail, offers a bit of tranquility. It's the perfect place to escape the dust and noise and enjoy a sunset over the desert. For my furry little companion, it's a chance to stretch his legs and explore the desert landscape to his heart's content, including trying to cover himself in dirt from head to toe. Tonight we keep it simple. No elaborate campfire feast or fancy lighting setups, just a quick and easy meal under the stars, followed by a peaceful night's sleep. We have a long road ahead of us tomorrow, and an early start awaits. As the day draws to a close, we're reminded of the vast beauty of the West. This seemingly empty desert holds countless stories, both ancient and modern, waiting to be discovered. Be sure to subscribe and join us tomorrow as we continue our journey along the Pony Express Trail, exploring new landscapes and uncovering some gorgeous hidden spots in this desert.